I forgot to mention, guys, I'm going to come down to where you actually can see me, because, you know. When it comes to the rice, when you're cooking it, obviously you can't use the brown rice, because brown rice is going to just fall apart. It's not going to maintain a sushi. So that's unfortunate. But anyways, you're going to basically want kind of a 1.5 to 2 ratio between rice and water. So you're going to want 1.5 times as much water as you have rice, or you're going to go up to 2. The way that Jet does it, and it doesn't really pan out depending on how you are cooking it, right? So if you are cooking, in a wider pan, it's not going to pan out. No pun intended. Or a smaller one, it's going to change this. But what he'll do is he'll put the water in after rinsing it 3 times. He'll put the rice into the rice cooker or into a stovetop pan. You don't need to have a rice cooker to cook rice. And he'll put in the water till it meets the first joint on his finger. So he'll touch the rice, but he won't push into it, and he'll pour up to the first joint on his index finger. That's assuming that you have an appropriate depth, because if this thing was filled 3/4 of the way up to that first joint is not going to be quite the right ratio. So I do recommend starting off. You may try that a few times and see how it kind of turns out, but generally speaking, definitely a 2 to 1 ratio if you're doing a brown rice, and then a more of a 1.5 to 1 ratio if you're doing a white rice. For doing like a sticky rice, you do have to get a glutinous rice variety, not a white rice. You actually need to have more of that rice gluten in it in order for it to stick the way it's supposed to for a sticky rice. So, and also if you guys are working with a red rice or or black rice, you have to cook those a lot longer, and you're probably going to need more water content to those. So check them as you go along. If you're doing a risotto, you can stir them, but you don't want to stir regular rice, right? You don't want to be stirring it and breaking it up too much when it's in the process of cooking. So that's what I have for you guys. It's kind of a down low on rice. The more dense the rice is, the more close to the original product it is, because remember, white rice, the white jasmine rice and brown rice, they're the same thing. They just are broken down into different levels. So the less broken down and the more hard the rice is, so black rice is going to be one of the hardest ones, the longer you're going to have to cook it. It's going to be 45 minutes to an hour for that. For a white rice, it could be 15 minutes or so. So it just depends. As far as the heat goes, you kind of want to bring it up to a boil, and then you want to just kind of turn it down to a medium low to low, and just have a lid on it and just keep that moisture on. A lot of times the way Jet will do it, if we were doing it stovetop, is he'll boil it with the lid off, and then he'll put the lid on for the simmering period of it. So, just try it out a couple different ways, but it's not particularly complicated. Alright, back.